Okay, I'm going to have a look at the compound interest formula. Had a request on the YouTube page for a video on this, so I'm going to go through the basics of the compound interest formula. So we have our formula here that sometimes you'll be given on a formula sheet, other times you will need to learn, so just make sure you clarify with your teacher for your particular subject if you are going to be given the formula or not in your exam. So we've got A is equal to P outside of 1 plus I to the power of N. So our A in this formula is the amount at the end. Our P is our principal or our amount at the start. Our I is our interest rate as a decimal. And our N is the number of compounding periods. Now I like to work through and find out any changes to I and N before I start the process. Other times you'll see formulas that might have A over K or I over 100, I over K or I over 100, where it's changing it to the decimal within the formula, but I like to keep it simple and just have the one formula, and I change my values at the start if I need to. So I'm going to start with a simple example where we've got $2,000 invested, and we're investing it at 11% per annum. We're going to say it's compounding yearly, and the word that we use for that is annually. And we're going to do that for 3 years. And we want to calculate the amount at the end. So when I start, I always write my A equals, P equals, I equals, and N equals. So we don't know the amount at the end. That's what we're trying to find out. We do know that we have $2,000 invested. We know that our I is 11%. Now I want to change that straight away to 0.11 because that's what that is as a decimal. Then we're compounding annually for 3 years. So in 3 years, that means our N will be 3 because we've compounded 3 times at the end of 3 years. So then we write our rule. So we always write our formula to start with, and then we sub in what we know. So in this case, we've got 2,000 outside of 1 plus 0.11, and we're raising that to the power of 3. Now we can put that straight into our calculator using the brackets. So when we put that in, we can type that in exactly how it is and using our up arrow to raise it to a power of 3. Now I've got that on my TR84 plus CE, but you can do that the same way on most of the scientific calculators as well, because you do have the brackets and you do have the power button on them as well. And when we press enter, we get 2735.262. So we will write 2375.26 as our answer. Now, if we wanted the interest, we would subtract our 2,000 from that, and we could say that you earned $375.26 interest in that period of time. Now, if we want to change that to a different type of compounding, so if we want to instead say compounding quarterly, and look at how that would be different, when we write our A equals P equals I equals N equals, our A we don't know again, our P is 2,000, our I is going to be that 0.11, but we're going to divide that by 4 because we have 4 quarters in the year. So because that was 11% per annum, we're having to divide that by 4, which gives us 0.0275. With our N, we've got 3 years, but we're compounding quarterly. So in those 3 years, that means there's going to be 12 quarters. So we're timesing that N by 4, sorry. So up here we divide it by 4, down here we're multiplying by 4, and that's the pattern when you make a change to 1. You divide 1, multiply the other by the same number. So we get 12 as our N value there. So we're now going to put that into our formula. So we will write our A equals P outside of 1 plus I to the N. We write in what we know, the 2,000 outside of 1 plus 0.0275 to the power of 12. We put that into our calculator and we should get 2769.57. Now what we notice here is that our amount has increased from what it was when it was compounding yearly. And that's what you're going to see. The more times you compound, the more interest you are going to earn during that time period. So if you're looking at comparing investments, if it's the same interest rate for the same number of years and the only thing that's different is what you're compounding, then the more frequent compounding will earn more interest. Hope that was helpful.